Hey everyone, welcome to 12 Days of Christmas yoga series. So today we're going to start on our neck release. So if, like a lot of us, generally most people around me are spending a lot of time looking at a device, they're looking down at a screen, their heads all dropped forwards, this slouched posture is just common everywhere you look nowadays. So it's really not great for us. We're spending too much time in that slouch position. Maybe it causes neck pains, maybe it causes back pain. So all of these things can be addressed with some really simple things to do daily. So let's begin with firstly bringing your hands together, warming up your palms. So we're going to actually start with a little bit of self massage. Never underestimate the power of touch. So hands nice and warm. You could even use a little bit of oil if you've got some at home. And you're going to start by bringing the thumbs to the ridge of the skull. So right underneath that kind of ridge under the skull there. And you're going to bring your thumbs to those 2 points. And you're going to just rub your thumbs like you're giving it a massage underneath that ridge there. So these muscles can be really tight. Maybe you can already notice that they're really tender there. So just press, maybe do little circles. Pressure could be really light, or if you feel the need to press quite firmly, just get underneath that ridge of the skull there. And then you could start to let your thumbs run up and down the length of your neck, just a bit of a rub. Again, really apply a bit of pressure if that works for you. And then continuing to do those little circular movements if that feels good there. And they're going to keep your thumbs exactly where they are, the ridge of the skull. With your elbows out to the side, let's take a breath in, press the thumbs into that ridge, and then lightly lift the chin and lift the chest up. Good. As you exhale, you're going to drop the chin into the chest and round into the upper back and into the neck. Let's do that a few more times. You're going to inhale, press into your thumbs, into the skull as you lift the head up. And then exhale, rounding into the back, chin to chest. And again, inhale, roll the head up. And exhale, chin to chest. Good. Let's slowly release the arms. Roll out the shoulders. And another really simple thing you can do if you're prone to that tech neck positioning, such a simple thing to repeat on a daily basis, is just simply draw your head back through space. Seems really silly and simple, but actually it's these deep neck flexor muscles that are getting quite weak from this prolonged tech neck position. So simply by drawing that head back, can you already notice a lift of your chest and an improved posture? Remind yourself to do that throughout the day. If you're sat at a desk, just pull your head back through space, lightly drawing the chin in. It might feel like you're getting a bit of a double chin effect, but ultimately this is where you're going to build that strength there right into the deep neck flexor muscles. Good. And then final thing here, let's sit up nice and tall, take a deep breath in, and then exhale, you're going to roll your right cheek to your right shoulder. So you've got some length into that left side there. With your right arm, taking it over the side of the right side of your head, so over the top of the head. Don't pull on it, so don't apply too much force, be gentle. That already might be enough stretch for you there through that left side of your neck. And let's take a deep breath in. Exhale. And with this other arm that's free here, you could walk the fingertips down onto a surface beside you. Maybe you're on the floor or in a chair. You could explore moving the hand behind you a little bit. Whatever you do with that hand, just notice the sensation that you create around the side of the left side of the neck. And just working with your body's ability there. So not forcing, not pushing, not pulling. Take a nice deep breath in. Good. Exhale. We're going to release the top palm and roll the chin to the chest super slow. And then inhale, stack the head back up. Well done. Roll out your shoulders. Let's do that to the other side. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, left cheek to left shoulder. Good. And then left palm is going to hook over the top of the head. Maybe you close your eyes, you just concentrate on your breathing for a moment and pay attention to that feeling down the right side of your neck now. Breathing in, breathing out. Good, that free arm there, maybe again you choose to take it to the side, maybe you walk the fingertips back and you just start to really feel a slight change in that stretch perhaps. Let's take a few more breaths. Inhale, exhale. Even just simply paying attention to your breathing can help ease some tension there too. Take one more breath in. Good, we're gonna release the top palm, roll the chin to the chest. Inhale, stack the spine and roll out your shoulders. Really nice. Squeeze the shoulders together and pull them apart, and then do that in both directions. Standing on your mat or wherever you are in your room, and just bring your feet to about hip distance apart. You're going to roll your shoulders out a couple of times. Good, and just start to do that in the other direction as well. From here, we're going to take our gaze forwards, draw the head back through space. The back of the neck is nice and long, avoiding that tech neck. And then let's start to take a deep breath in. As we exhale, we're going to drop the chin into the chest, and then we're going to start to round into that upper back as we start to tilt the hips forwards. You could bend the knees here as you start to then slowly roll all the way down, chin to chest. Now it might be that you really need to bend the knees here, that's fine. And then press your feet firmly into the ground, chin to chest, and let's roll our spine all the way back up, bone by bone. Unravel those shoulders. Let's do that again. A nice deep breath in. Exhale, chin to chest, and roll your spine forwards. Again, tilt the pelvis forwards, roll through the spine. If you need to bend the knees, please do. Press through the floor as we rise all the way up, stacking that spine. So really thinking about all that space you create into the spine, and stand tall. Let's do that one more time. Take a breath in. Exhale, chin to chest, rolling forwards, arms nice and heavy, and lowering all the way to the ground. Really nice. Press into the floor, rise up bone by bone, and stand tall. Unravel through your shoulders. Good. Shake it all out there. Now we're going to work on a little bit of side bending and rotation. Now this can be also really beneficial if you're, again, there's some tightness in the hip flexors, the psoas, which really helps with side bending. If you're dealing with any SI joint issues, then you might want to just continue with that forward and back roll, so you're not putting any rotation or twist onto the SI joint. So let's take a breath in, stand up nice and tall. Exhale, you're going to gently side bend to the right. And from there, right arm's nice and long. Let's then bring the left arm in front of us. So it's kind of like a dangling arm in front. And then your left rib cage is going to rotate over to your right side. So you're going to start to, if you want to, bend your knees and roll your spine all the way down. Take your time, roll through the center and back through to stand nice and tall. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, left side bend. Good. Right arm's going to dangle in front of you. So let it be really floppy, because already you might already feel some sensation there right into that mid part of your back. So take your time. Try not to rush it as you start to lower all the way down. Maybe pause where you feel some sensation. Maybe it feels good. Maybe that's what you need. And then roll through the center, coming all the way up. Stack your spine, stand tall. Let's repeat that. Breathe in. Exhale, side bend to the right. Good. You're going to let that left arm dangle in front of you. Take your way down. Again, really slow it down. Don't rush it. Notice what feels good. Maybe also what doesn't feel good. So really observe that feeling in your body. What's good, what isn't. So just notice, exhale, standing tall. Last one here, take a breath in. Exhale, side bend to the left. Let that right arm dangle in front. Notice that feeling into the mid back, all the way down. Really get as much rotation as you can if that feels good. And at the bottom, maybe a sway. So our spines love lots of multi-dimensional movements. So really explore moving your body in lots of different ways. Movement is key. Good. And then rolling your spine all the way up. Unravel your shoulders, shake it all out. For this practice, we're going to need a spiky ball or a tennis ball or anything like maybe a foam roller if you've got something like that around. And we've got a block, but it might be that you use a book, something sturdy, or you might even just have a step in your space that you're in, and step would work as well. So let's get started. We're going to start with the ball, so bring the ball to the floor. Now, if you're prone to having really tight plantar fascia, so underneath the sole of the foot, this is going to feel great for you. Also, if like most of us kind of spend a lot of time in shoes, they might even be poorly fitted shoes, then this is going to be great to really get that space into the toes. There's lots of nerve endings in the feet that's sending signals to the brain, so it's such a whole body kind of reaction going on from our feet. So anything that's going on down there, any tightness, any kind of gripping, any tension, has a repercussion throughout the rest of our body. So we want to really send some love to our feet, a bit of TLC for our feet. We often can neglect them. So let's start with bringing the ball underneath the right foot, and you're just going to press the ball of the foot onto that ball. And it could be a quite firm press, or it might be light depending on how it feels. If you're ticklish, then you might not want a spiky ball. Let's see how it goes. And then you're going to run that ball basically along the whole sole of your foot as well. So spread across the ball of the foot, into the heel. And when you press firmly enough, you might even kind of see that space into the bones as well. Good. Press nice and firmly, run across, and then you're going to slowly bring that foot to the floor and stand up tall on both of your feet. And now just pay attention to how that feels already, on the difference between the foot that's had a bit of a stretch out and the opposite one. And let's come on to the other side now, if it's the left side for me. And we're just going to run that ball again across the sole of the foot. Maybe pause at the ball of the foot and press down. Good. And feel that all the way across your foot. Nice. And then from there, let's bring that foot to the floor. And now start to feel again how more space there is in your feet. Hopefully you can notice that already. Let's start to bring our block or come to a step, whatever you have nearby. And you're going to stand onto your block, but you're actually going to bend your right knee and then lower the left heel off the block. So you're kind of hanging the ankle off that edge of that left block. So we're just going to lightly pulse up and down. So we're getting some length and stretch into that left ankle. The ankle joint is essentially a hinge joint. So we want to encourage that hinge movement. Lengthen, you might even feel this down into the calf muscles. Good. So really lengthen down, little pulsing movements. Like I said, you could do this on the edge of a step. Perfect. And then let's slowly swap sides. Left foot flat on the block, bend the left knee, and then draw the right heel bone down off the edge of your block or your step, and gentle pulsing movements there. Nice and slow. Good. And then let's slowly release. Bring both feet to the floor. You don't need your block now. And you're going to start to feel Your feet on the ground, all 10 toes, spread nice and wide, and notice how that feels already. Maybe lots more space into the feet. One more thing together here. So press into the toes, the heel bone, and let's inhale, reach the hands forwards, and we're going to lightly lean back like we're a pendulum. So try not to kind of banana shape back. Keep your body in a really straight line, and notice if your toes want to lift. So can you really anchor your toes down, lift up through that front line of your body, and lean back. And then let's reverse that. So again, press down through the toes, sweep the arms back and see if you can lean forwards, but try not to dip at the hips there. So keep the body in a nice long straight line, grip through the toes. Maybe you can start to feel even those quad muscles have to come into play now. And then let's reverse that, press back, lengthen back, keep the body in a straight line if you can. Notice any gripping anywhere, of course in the toes. Try to spread those toes. Let's spread the toes, move forwards again. Good. Keep the heel bones down if you can. Last one to both sides. Breathe in. Oh, get those toes down and then breathe out forwards, keeping the heels down. And slowly release the arms, roll out your shoulders, shake it all out, down to all fours. So we're onto our cat-cow pose. Now, if you're also someone that sits down quite a lot at a desk and your back gets tight, this is going to be great to get some movement into your spine. We're also going to be applying some weight onto the wrists so we can strengthen the wrists, strengthen across the shoulders. So let's start with fingertips spread, but relax the palms. And just begin by bringing your chest down between your arms. So try not to bend the elbows here. Keep the arms straight and drop the chest through. So if you could imagine someone was placing their palm between your shoulder blades, and as you drop your chest down, you'll feel your shoulder blades squeeze that palm. And now we're going to press away and reverse that. So press into the hands, press up through the shoulder blades and feel those shoulder blades spread apart. And let's do that a few times. So you sink down and you press up. Sink down and press up. So what we're doing here is we're getting this scapular glide across the upper back. So start to become familiar with those movements, because what we want to do is start to find some point in the middle that it feels kind of neutral for us. So we're not sinking too much, we're not pushing too much. We're somewhere in the middle. The shoulders feel like they're nice and strong and stable on our back. And then lightly think about just drawing the tailbone back a little bit, so we're not kind of, again, sinking into the back here, just to get into a good strong position to begin with. Now start by bringing your gaze forwards. Keep the 9 feet flat if you can. And you're going to inhale, roll your breastbone forwards now, lift your heart, your chest, and lift your tailbone. Now from there, let's lead the tailbone first. You're going to gently roll through the tailbone, feel the lower back move, the mid back, and then the upper back last, and chin draws to the chest. Now slowly move the tailbone first, then roll through your spine. Lift the head very, very last as you look up, but relax the jaw. Good, exhale, tailbone first, lower, mid, upper back, and chin to chest, rounding into that cat stretch. Let's do that again. Now really slow it down. Try not to rush this. Feel into your spine. And let the head be the last thing to move, like it's a continuation of your spine. And rounding, creating space into the back. Well done. And continuing with this cat-cow, if that feels good for you, or if you'd like to add on a little bit, we can move into a down dog. So we'll walk the hands forwards about hand distance. You'll begin to tuck the toes under and lift the knees off the ground. And if you're feeling quite a lot of weight over your wrists, a lot of strain into the shoulders, explore maybe bending the knees, maybe even taking the hands a bit wider and playing around with your hand positioning. Don't feel like there's just one size fits all. You can really explore different ways to move your body. Adjust it for your body. From your downward dog, we're going to inhale, roll over the toes, come forwards to a plank pose. Now this is where that shoulder stability is important. Maybe you squeeze the bottom so we don't sink here into the lower back. And then let's exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Again, inhale, you come forwards to a plank, keep those shoulders nice and strong on your back. Reach back through your heels. Exhale, downward facing dog. If you want to add on, breathe into downward plank. Let the hips lightly draw forwards. Gently lift through the heart, the chest. This time you're in upward dog, but activate through the back body. Strong through that whole back line of your body. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Let's do that one more time. Over the toes. Maybe plank is where you're at. Maybe you come through an upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Well done. Release your knees. Now let's bring our hands down to the ground into our all fours position. Hands underneath the shoulders and getting the shoulders nice and stable on the back body. Think about lengthening back through the tailbone, lightly hugging in at the ribs. If you're kind of prone to really flaring out there, maybe you take a little hug in to keep that back body nice and stable. Now we're going to tuck the toes under here and we're going to hover the knees off the floor about an inch or so. And if that already feels like enough, maybe you take a break in between, that's absolutely fine. Plug down through your fingertips, take a breath in, and then we're going to exhale, swivel the knees to the right, but keep the shoulders over the wrists. We're using that core and the center. Breathe into center. Then exhale, twist knees to the left, and then inhale to center. Exhale, twist knees to the right, and really get the twist from those obliques. Come back to center, breathe in. Moving from your center, breathe out, knees to left. Let's do that one more time to each side. Inhale, exhale to the right. Good, breathe into center. Breathe out to the left. Good. Come back through center, maybe rest if you wish, and breathe. So we're going to repeat that if you want to, continue with that twist, or we can start to add on a little bit more rotation, working through the arms a bit as well. So let's lift through the knees, take a breath in. From your center, let's twist to the right, shift the weight to your heels a little bit, and then lift your right arm up into the air. Good, come back to center, stack shoulders over wrists, inhale. Exhale, twist to the left from your core, shift the weight to your toes and lift your left arm. Good, let's repeat that. Inhale, hands over under shoulders. Exhale, twist to the right, shift your weight back. Breathe into center. Exhale to the left. Come all the way forwards and release. Amazing. Step our right foot forwards from the ground, and you're going to bring your hands to your hips to begin with. Now your right foot, we're going to really press down through the foot. Now if you feel kind of a bit wobbly off center here, feel free to take that right leg quite wide so you're not kind of like on a tight rope, so it gives you a big nice wide base. This is absolutely fine. And then the back foot, we're actually going to flatten it if you can. So I want you to start to feel that you're able to press down into the ground with that back foot. And the reason for that is, if you've got tight hip flexors, often common from spending a lot of time sitting, then what happens is sometimes if you just kind of lunge really far deeply and just kind of hang into the hip, we're not actually going to really work into that hip flexor. So I want us to, or kind of get some engagement as such as well. So by kind of staying a little bit more upright, press down into that back foot into the ground, and now press down firmly into that front foot. Hopefully, by lengthening down through the tailbone, bringing the hip bones, the rim of the hip, the pelvis up, you can start to feel, okay, that's waking up properly now, and I can engage a bit while it's in that lengthened position. And once you're ready there, let's take the arms to the sky, reach up really tall, so you've got this active kind of rooting down through the base of the pose, but then reaching up to the sky, so the arms are long, skimming the sides of your ears, and breathe here. Try not to hold that breath. Good. You could also imagine that there's a magnet at the back of the front heel and that back foot, and the magnet is trying to draw together towards one another. So there's this almost this scooping sensation going on, activating even more through that left side. Let's take a breath in and a breath out. Now you could stay put here. If you want to add on a bit here, you could tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and now we're in our high lunge position. Keep that same activation going on where you're pressing into the front foot. Now you're pressing into the back toes, and lengthen your heel bone back. Make sure that you're not kind of dropping in with that heel bone. Think about it, feel it. Can you press it back a bit more? Reach through the arms, breathe. Breathe out. So when the pose gets a little bit more challenging, where can you find a bit more ease with all that effort? Let's take one more breath in. Good. Lower the knees slowly, hands to your hips. Exhale and slowly step back, and we'll come to the other side. Good. So you're going to step left foot forwards now. Before you kind of come into lifting the arms, let's again find that rooting through the feet. So if you can, relax the back foot. Press firmly into your left foot there and back down into that right foot. As the hip bones, the rim of the pelvis gently lifts forwards, can we wake up the front of that right hip flexor? Good. Find your base, reach to the sky. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Good. Keep reaching through the arms, so lots of energy right through to the fingertips. Breathe. And breathe out. Good. From there, you could start to tuck the back toes. If you want to, lift the back knee into your high lunge on the other side. So lots of energy, lots of power in those legs. But where can you find some more softness? Can you relax through the corners of the neck? Can you soften your gaze? Can you soften through the facial muscles where there's no need to grip right now? Good. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Good. Pause, one more breath in. And then exhale, let's slowly lower the knee, release the hands to the hips. Step back. So we're going to have our, firstly in an all fours position, but when we actually come up onto one hand into a side plank, we actually want to bring the right hand first, a little bit ahead of the left hand. And for this reason is it's going to give us a better positioning of the ball and socket joint into a 90-degree angle as we come up off the floor. And then it's more stable there. So from that position, we're going to swivel the right toes behind us and extend the left leg long. So now we're resting on that right hand and we're going to take that left arm to the sky. And here you are in your side plank variation here. So this is where you might choose to stay put. Keep thinking about lifting that under waist and reaching up to the sky. Or you might like to explore bringing that left foot off the floor there to balance and pause here. If you're looking at going into the full side plank, so press firmly into the ground with that right palm and then lift that right leg off the floor to extend long to meet your left leg. And then from here, maybe your gaze is up to that top fingertip. Maybe you look down, wherever you choose to be. Keep your gaze still, keep breathing nice and firm, nice and smoothly here. And then maybe we can explore a little bit more, adding on. Hopefully you're not going to slip like me on a slippery surface, but you're going to maybe explore bringing that left leg up to find a tree pose. As long as you're not too wobbly like me. But keep lifting through the under waist, lift through that lower hip, breathe, reach up, reach to the sky, look up. Good. And then from there, let's start to slowly return to a plank position. So left hand to the ground now. Stabilize those shoulders on your back body. Reach back through your heels. So think of that core here. So really need to be bringing that core into good optimum position. So making sure that you're not sinking into your lower back here. Press the heel bones back, maybe even use your glutes a little bit as well. So spread all the effort through your whole body. Then we're gonna lower the left knee, left hand ever so slightly in front. Swivel round, right leg long, and reach that right arm to the sky. Side plank variation here on one knee. And this is fine, maybe you stay put here, or maybe you explore lifting one knee off the floor. Reach through the toes, reach up to the sky. And then other option, if you're going to your full side plank, let's start to reach that left leg long. Lift through that under waist, extend up to the sky with your right fingertips and look up if you wish, or you could look down here, your choice. Breathe, keep pressing away from the ground. And as an option, maybe you choose to float right foot up the leg to come to that balancing tree there. Keep pressing the hips up to the sky. Breathe in, breathe out. Nice deep breath in. And then exhale, windmill that right hand to the ground. Return to your plank. Lower your knees. Shake out your wrists. Let's step our right foot forwards into a lunge. Now from here, if you want to, it might be that you want to have a block to hand or a prop, anything that you might find that just helps you to bring the ground up to you in this lunge position. And in our lunge position, we're just going to lightly pulse back and forwards. Just ease into it nice and slowly. It might be that you take your right foot a bit wider here as well. So maybe slightly to the diagonal to give you a bit of room there in space. Now our splits and half splits variations, great if you've got some stiffness and tightness into the hamstrings, can work on building length but also strength there. And also into the quads, the hip flexors. So actually, while we will be working on some flexibility, we also want to think about the strength element as well. It's all well and good getting flexible, but without strength, this isn't really a functional way of building your body. So let's just really think about working on both throughout this practice here. So with that front knee now bent, take a breath in, draw your heart forwards. And then as you breathe out, you're going to hinge your hips back so that they start to stack above that bent knee. Now your right leg begins to straighten, and it might be that it won't fully straighten, that's fine. Maybe you have a slight bend into it, that's totally fine. Use the block or surface if you wish to, or you might bring your hands to the ground. Think about now how that feels, that sensation there on that right side. Now rather than just kind of feeling intense stretch there, ease off a little bit if it's too much, or we can start to actively press the heel bone firmly into the floor. And by doing that, you hopefully will start to feel that actually you're engaging that muscle whilst it's in a stretched position there as well. We can also start to think about the back foot as well, actively pressing down through the back foot, and almost imagine that there's this magnet from the front heel bone to the back foot, and there's this magnetic draw between one another, and hopefully again you start to feel, okay, there's some muscles that are really working there rather than just stretching. Good. Now that might be enough. Maybe you stay put here. Some of you might want to go a little bit further. You could slightly send that back knee further away and send the right foot further forwards, and you start to work your way more towards a full splits. Now again, maybe you use a block, a prop, something to keep you upright rather than just sinking and collapsing. Think of the whole pose, the whole, keeping integrity through the whole body rather than just kind of reaching to that full pose. That's not important. Let's not think about so much range, and let's think about control and stability here. Pressing into that back foot, pressing into that front heel bone. Work on the engagement in the pose whilst you're lengthening. Let's take a deep breath in and exhale. Really slowly ease off that front leg, step back to all fours, and then let's step left foot forwards now. And again, let's take it really nice and wide, that left leg. Lightly hinge your weight back and forth, easing into the left side. And whilst you're doing this, pay attention to how it feels, how different it is maybe from one side to the next. Good, so take a breath in, send your heart forwards, and then take a breath out. Let's lightly hinge back, so we've now got hip above that bent knee. You're going to flex that left foot and feel now the hamstring on that left side. Now again, it might be that you want a slight bend here, that's totally fine. It might be that you have your props to hand if you want to lift your chest a little higher, or maybe no props are needed. But let's start on working on a bit of that engagement there. So you're going to actively press the heel bone into the floor, the back foot into the floor, and feel that activation from front leg to the back leg and engaging there rather than just stretching. Good, breathe. Breathe out. Now from here, maybe this is where you stay put in your half splits, or maybe some of you might like to lightly send that right knee back, send that left leg forwards. Maybe, again, you find a block to keep your chest lifted. But again, don't just strive too hard to just go to that end goal. Maybe back off a little bit, come back. Find a good place of stability where you can now go, okay, let's focus on a bit of activation there. Press down through the heel bone, press down through that back foot. You almost got that magnetic pull from the front leg to the back leg, and working on that strength element as well. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Maybe there's space to go a little further, but only when it feels a bit with ease. Good. One more breath here. And exhale. Nice and slowly just start to ease off that front knee. Step back. Tuck your toes under and start to slowly roll over your toes so that you're now kind of right on the tips of your toes into this squat position. Now, if this feels a little challenging already for you here, there isn't enough range perhaps in the hips or the ankles, you can still practice a hip hinge from a standing position. So maybe your hands are on the thighs there and you're taking it more from a kind of more upright position. And what we're going to do from there is, with your toes on the ground, your hands on the ground option here, swivel your hips side to side. Let your weight shift from your heels to your toes. If you're more in your upright position, same thing here. Maybe you sway side to side, shift that weight from heel to toe, lightly moving through those hips. Good. Just keeping a little bit of movement going in, working into that range of your hips. Maybe you bring the hands away so there's less work with your hands, and you let the hips do a bit more of the movement. Good. From there, we're going to start to get to a little bit more of a static place. Now, it might be that your heel bones are off the floor, and if you have any prop or block to hand, you could actually place your heel bones there onto your block there. And then we'll take the hands to prayer position and firmly press the heels of the palms together to then broaden out the elbows there. And that might be your option where you're on your heels, or you might still be more upright here. This is absolutely fine, taking the hands to prayer. It's going to work you quite hard to stay static here, and if it gets tiring, maybe the hands again come to the hips, to the inner thighs rather. Some of you might not even have a block altogether. Maybe your heels come nice and low to the ground, and you can then take your hands into a prayer position and keep pressing those heels of the palms firmly together. Really think about anchoring the tailbone towards the ground. Lift your heart and lift your chest and breathe. Good. So in your squat position, maybe you stay put for a moment. Maybe you practice being still. Maybe you practice that gentle sway, movement into the hips. For those of you that want to progress a little bit more, let's work on a little bit of crow pose from squat. We're kind of already halfway there. Now it could be that you use a block again, place that under your heels. It could be that you have a cushion in front of you. That really helps you as well, just feel a little bit more comfortable that you've got something in front of you for a little bit of arm balancing prep. So if you've got your heels on the block, this is going to help elevate you slightly. Let's bring our hands down onto the ground, shoulder width apart roughly. Fingertips spread nice and wide. Now, important thing with arm balancing here is that we don't look down, we actually look forwards, because this is where we want to travel. We want our weight to travel forwards, not down. Good. So you're going to start to lightly lift your bottom in the air, and then from here, see if you can bend your elbows back. And I like to bend them to a point where it creates almost like a little shelf for my knees to find that place. As we've got a block, or you might have a block there, we're already slightly lifted off the ground, so this can help. Now the key here is, again, like I said, don't look down, look forwards. And your weight is essentially shifting from the heel of your palm right into your fingertips. We don't want to kind of lift one foot at a time and cheat a little bit here. What we want to do is really build that confidence and that strength right into the tips of your fingertips, so that you're bringing your weight so far forwards that eventually those toes, hopefully, you come forwards, keep bringing the weight forwards and forwards and forwards, so that the toes actually start to float off the floor. Maybe the toes come to touch. Keep your gaze lifted and practice to fly. So it really does come down to that transition of weight, the balance coming right into the fingertips to let your weight shift forwards. So give it a go, practice it, keep moving through your hips. So we're into our now more seated poses, maybe a little bit more passive with this final few practices. So you're going to make your way down onto a mat, onto the ground, come to sit. Now we could have props, you could have blankets to hand if you wanted to use a blanket. And if not, then we're just going to slowly stretch the legs out as wide as you can comfortably go. And then from here, try and get to a place where you can feel both your seat bones really anchored into the floor. Now, if that feels a little too much there, feel free to bend the knees a little bit and see if that gives you a little bit more hip hinge forwards, if that works for you. And it might be that you decide to just bend the knees anyway to make this a bit more of a restful, soothing forward fold for you, rather than that real kind of stretched out active way of working through the pose. So it could go either way, really. You could be quite soft with it, or you could be quite active with it. But either way, we want to think about seat bones really anchored into the floor. A slight hinge forwards. Now, if that already feels a challenge hinging forwards, maybe you bring your hands behind you to begin with and work from that place. Lightly press the heels into the floor if you're working a bit more actively. And again, maybe you place a blanket somewhere nearby if you want to use it. You could have a blanket underneath the seat bones to slightly elevate you forwards. So either way, hands could be behind you, hands could be in front of you. Let's just take a few rounds of deep breath here, feeling anchored into the seat bones, but breathing in, breathing out. And again, a gentle breath in and a gentle breath out. Now you could choose to stay here just with this more static hold, or we could start to bring a gentle bit of movement into the forward fold with some more side bends and rotations. So think of gliding your left hand towards the left leg and reaching the right arm overhead for a side bend. Let's swap sides, so let the movement be soft. Don't have to reach too far or strive, just let the movement be gentle and soft, quiet, humble, soothing for the nervous system when we're trying to just be more gentle with our movements, not forceful. Good. If that works for you, keep going, gentle and slow. Or maybe you choose to work a little bit more on some rotation. So maybe when you reach your right hand behind you now, left hand comes across the body and the other side. changing from side to side. Maybe you let the head feel heavy. Keep breathing as you move. Good. Maybe you choose to pause in that rotation. Wherever you're at, maybe make it softer. Back to the center, hands to the center. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, soften, ease down, regulating the nervous system now with that quiet, calm breathing. Maybe closing the eyes for one more breath in. And exhale. Really nice. Gently roll your spine. So let's come to the ground, to come to lie onto our mat. Now I've got a block to hand. If you want one, you could have a block to hand. It's not necessary, but it could be quite nice for you to have to hand. So let's just start by bringing ourselves to the ground. Feet to the floor. Hands relax alongside the body, and just begin with just feeling the ground beneath you. Allow your body to feel like it's held now on the ground. Feel the feet on the ground, the back of the hips, back of the shoulders, and the back of the head to the ground. So we're gonna just begin with a few rocks and tilts of our pelvis. So gently moving the pelvis forwards, backwards, so you feel the arch into the spine, and then you feel the flattening of the spine. And just do that a few times. See what feels more favourable in your body as well. What do you prefer? What movement pattern? And where can you start to come where it feels a little bit, somewhere in the middle perhaps? Where does it feel comfortable for you? Can you come somewhere in the middle and find that neutral place in the pelvis? From that place, press into the hands, the feet, and the back of the shoulders. And see if you can now roll your hips up to the sky. And maybe you maintain that neutral position of your pelvis, or maybe it feels good to try that rocking and tilting, but just ever so slightly. Just do it to a point where you feel, okay, I feel like I can find the right place and placement there to now feel my whole body is working, in terms of not too much kind of feeling in the lower back, mid or upper back. Spread the effort now. So you press into your feet. Maybe you engage the glutes a little bit. You press into the backs of the shoulders and the back of the head. So that back body is strong. And there's lots of length into that front body. Our modern day posture actually weakens a lot of the back. So we want to get strong through the back body, length into the front body, and then lower down, really slow, bone by bone, upper back, mid, lower, and tailbone last. Good. Let's do that again. Return to your kind of neutral in your pelvis. Press into the hands and the feet. Roll your spine all the way up. And again, think of spreading the effort here. If there's usually a lot of sensation in your lower back, maybe come a little bit lower if that's too high. And then think about the feet playing into it, the glutes playing a part into it, back of the shoulders stable. So spread the effort in your back bend. Breathe lots of space into the front body. And then exhale, lower all the way down with control. Well done. So third wheel, a bridge, here. This is where you could choose to use a block if you wanted to. So finding your way up nice and slowly. Now the block you could have on the lowest side, or you could bring it a little bit higher if you wish, where you're going to place it now to the sacrum, so that kind of bony part at the base of your skull, not your skull, sorry, the base of your spine, and you're going to place your hips down onto that block. Now it might be that you just need to have a wiggle a bit, see where is comfortable for you. You essentially want to be able to place your hips down and rest onto it and start to feel that just the weight of your hips are heavy and releasing down. And this can be a little bit more of a kind of passive now bridge, soft, relaxed breathing. But as we now progress to our bigger back bend, the wheel pose, if you want to, stay put if you're happy here. We're going to just now stretch out our left leg whilst we're on our block. Now this is helping us get some length into the front of that left hip flexor. And what can sometimes be a bit of a stumbling point in back bends is not necessarily how flexible your spine is, but if we're tight in the front of the hips here, this can actually affect the range that we can get in our back. Same with our shoulders. If we're kind of a bit limited with our shoulder range as well, this can play a part in also having less range in a back bend. So maybe you place your arms up and over your head. Maybe you soften the elbows for a moment. And just think of all that length now you're creating into that left side of your body. Breathe. And breathe out. Good. Let's switch sides. You're going to drag that left foot back to the floor. Extend right leg nice and long, keeping your arms reached overhead if you can. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Let's slide the right heel back to the ground. Let your arms run alongside your body. Those of you that want to just stay there on your block or just staying rested for a moment, feel free to do that. We're going to otherwise peel the spine up to remove the block, lower the spine with control. Now to prepare for your wheel pose, we're going to take the arms, either side of the shoulders. Now if you notice that your elbows are really splaying out here, see if you can try and tuck the elbows in. And if that still doesn't really work for you, it might be that you want to take your hands a bit wider to accommodate that in the shoulders. Feet could be hip width, maybe a bit wider. Personally for me, I like to come up on my tiptoes. That just really helps me kind of get that spread of effort into that arch of my back bend. So when we're ready, it's like a bit of a push up upside down. We're going to breathe in, press through the floor. Rise up onto the crown of the head, and then as we exhale, straighten through the arms. I'm going to come up on my tiptoes. This helps to kind of really get more engagement into the glutes as well for me, spreading that effort through my back body, lots of length into the front body. Breathe, maybe you relax your head, breathe out, breathe in. And breathe out really nice and slowly. You're going to let the head come to the ground, roll the chin to the chest, and lower your spine slowly, bone by bone, to the ground. Good. Now from here, please do not rush to lift the knees. Just take a moment with the feet to the ground. Stay neutral in your pelvis. And allow yourself the time to actually enjoy that energy rush that comes with back bends. There's so much energy you create in back bending, really uplifting, invigorating. So pause, take time to experience it. Experience the breath, how you feel in your body. Good. And then let's let the knees now come to the chest. Give yourself a hug, a squeeze, a rock on the back, a gentle massage into all four corners of your back. And for all your efforts, if you've been with me for all 12 days, a massive well done. Even if you've just made it today, a massive well done for being here. Amazing effort. Thank your body. Thank yourself for being here. If you've got time now, maybe you take a gentle twist. Maybe you take some time to lie down. Just be still or to meditate. But wherever you're at, maybe you rest or come to gently roll to your side. Thank you so much for coming with me on this journey through the 12 days of Christmas. I wish you all a very happy Christmas. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me on these 12 days of Christmas poses. I hope that you've really felt some benefit from it. You've learned something new. If you have, please follow, subscribe and like, maybe even leave a comment. And if you know anyone else that may benefit from this, then please do pass it on. These practices are here for you to practice whenever you want, wherever you are in the world. So thank you so much for joining me. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.